Pritzker says he would consider opening up parts of Illinois before the new stay-at-home order expires.
And those areas would need to meet certain guidelines, though. WGN's Eric Rung is live with details. Eric.
Well, good evening. The biggest guideline that those parts of the state would need to meet would be that infections were on a decline and have been on a decline for at least 14 days. Governor Pritzker saying one thing that will not be a factor is people holding up signs that say, "Liberate Illinois."
They're exercising their right to free speech, and I'll defend to the death their right to exercise that right, even when they're wrong.
The governor saying this new stay-at-home order that went into effect today does loosen several restrictions from his previous order. Some elective surgeries are being scheduled in parts of the state, as well as golf courses opening up, and religious services are being allowed as long as congregations don't go over 10 people and they are socially distancing themselves. This was added after church leaders in a far northwest Illinois filed a federal lawsuit against the state. The Chicago Archdiocese, however, still not holding mass. The governor also introduced a new member of the state health department team today, a contact tracing expert, Dr. Wayne Duffus. He is building a team which will mean eventually hiring thousands of people to start tracing COVID-19 positive patients and who they came in contact with as soon as possible to get those people tested and into self-isolation and treatment if needed. The governor and doctors say this contact tracing is critical to slowing the spread of COVID-19. He says for this tracing to work, though, the public needs to be on board.
To protect patient privacy, contacts are only informed that they may have been exposed to a patient with the infection. They're not told the identity of the patient who may have exposed them. Another essential aspect of our contact tracing program is that contacts will be eligible for testing, and if that test should return negative, then they could be released from isolation.
Now, all of this could eventually cost the state $80 million. Now, as far as the lawsuits that have been filed against the state concerning the executive order, the governor, as well as his team, kind of sidestepped those questions today, saying that their law department would take care of that. Another big announcement here just in the last hour, the mayor, as well as the governor, announcing that they are starting to wind down services at McCormick Place, where they had set up an alternative care facility. It was supposed to be up to 3,000 beds. It was then scaled back to 1,000 beds, but the governor as well as the mayor say that all the patients that are there now, they should be out by next week, and they will not be accepting any more new patients there. They say all of the social distancing and measures that they have taken have worked, so there are room in hospitals now for patients. They do say they are going to keep 500 beds, though, available just in case at McCormick Place. We're live tonight. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.